We now know how Russiagate got started, and we know that it was all a lie started by the Hillary Clinton campaign. That the Hillary Clinton campaign realized she was in trouble because of her email scandal, which had broken in 2015 in the wake of Benghazi. We found these emails of hers that were weird, and people were like, what server was that on, and so on. And it created a problem for her all the way up to Election Day 2016.
But I could see them and hear them in my ear, and they said, Tulsi Gabbard, you're coming out and criticizing Hillary Clinton and her foreign policy record. Aren't you afraid of what she'll do to you? He asked me this on live television on MSNBC. And you're laughing. I laughed too. I was like, no, I am not afraid of what Hillary Clinton can do to me.
Together, Megyn Kelly and Tulsi deliver a brutal takedown that exposes the cracks in Hillary's armor, the scandals, the gaffes, and the constant failure to inspire real trust. Their combined voices unravel the myth of Hillary Clinton, revealing a political career defined less by true achievements and more by controversy and missed opportunities. It's a relentless roast that leaves no space for spin or excuses, a raw reckoning with a figure who once seemed untouchable but now stands completely dismantled.
Of course, is the original election denier. I'm sure you voted for her in 2016.
Well, she's not an election denier.
She absolutely was the OG election denier.
She, first of all, she came out before the sun had risen to concede the election to Trump.
And then spent the next 4 years saying he was illegitimate. He was an illegitimate president.
Okay, well, first of all, she didn't say he was an illegitimate.
Yes, she did.
You tell me exactly what she said.
She said those exact words repeatedly.
They are using the same old tactic that the deep state's propaganda arm in the media uses. Whenever they come across something that is true and that doesn't go along with whatever their narrative is that they're trying to shove down the throats of the American people, they first usually ignore it, as they did when I first released these documents.
It stole his first term as president. These so-called defenders of democracy, these absolute liars, completely ruined it. They tried to undermine him at every turn, even at the highest levels, with lies, serious lies that reshaped foreign policy and altered the course of history during Trump's presidency. And there must be accountability, real criminal accountability for those who spread those lies. I can't wait to see this administration finally deliver it. Tulsi Gabbard brings a rare insider's perspective, dismantling Hillary's foreign policy record with surgical precision. From questionable decisions in the Middle East to cozy relationships with powerful elites, she leaves no part of that legacy untouched.
Stole his first term as president. These absolute liars who run around trying to act like they're the protectors of democracy completely ruined it, tried to undermine it at every turn and at the highest levels with lies, with out and out lies that were really serious, and changed foreign policy and changed the course of history in this country in Trump's presidency. And there must be accountability. There has to be actual criminal accountability for those who lied. And I can't wait to see this administration.
Tulsi exposes a record filled with contradictions and moral compromises. Her critique focuses on how Hillary's policies often clashed with the very ideals she claimed to stand for, painting the picture of a politician more invested in power than real progress.
All of these pieces fit quite seamlessly together, creating a very clear timeline that shifted from before the election, the intelligence community almost uniformly saying essentially that Russia is trying to sow discord in the US election, but has no preference for one candidate over another. And then all of a sudden, Trump wins the election, surprising many people, both here and abroad, as we've learned in later documents that we've reviewed, that throughout that campaign, Russia believed that Hillary Clinton would win the election.
If you're enjoying this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. Megyn Kelly's razor-sharp commentary slices through the polished surface of establishment politics, exposing Hillary's struggle to connect with everyday voters despite decades in the spotlight. She strips away the layers of scripted speeches and rehearsed empathy, revealing a politician more focused on appearances than real substance. Megyn Kelly mocks Hillary's endless attempts to rebrand herself, turning every campaign slogan into a punchline about missed chances and misplaced priorities.
And our audience knows this, and you guys, but just for the record, let's play SOT 10.
I do think that he knows that he's an illegitimate president. I believe he knows he's an illegitimate president. He knows that there were a bunch of different reasons why the election turned out the way it did. And as I've been telling candidates who have come to see me, you can run the best campaign, you can even become the nominee, and you can have the election stolen from you.
We're trying to tell the American people the truth and expose these people, many of whom you just showed, for who they are as the propaganda arm of the deep state, which would have no power and no influence if they weren't able to feed their lies into a willing spokesperson through the propaganda media.
Megyn Kelly and Tulsi Gabbard teaming up to roast Hillary Clinton is like unleashing a tag team of sharp tongues and relentless truths on a political heavyweight who thought she had seen it all. From campaign failures to decades of controversies, they leave nothing untouched. Hillary's polished image cracks under the weight of their direct attacks, exposing the contradictions, scandals, and mistakes that kept her from claiming the power she so badly wanted. This isn't just criticism, it's a full dismantling, delivered with sharp humor and raw fire.
What is so concerning about what Hillary Clinton is doing here is she is not only calling me a traitor, she is not only trying to smear my character, she's sending a warning out to every veteran, every single American, anyone who stands up against the warmongering foreign policies that really are her legacy, that have been so destructive and costly to my brothers and sisters in uniform.
Hillary Clinton's political career has been a spectacle of contradictions, a roller coaster ride of high expectations and crushing disappointments. Tulsi Gabbard doesn't just point out her missteps, she highlights the gap between the carefully crafted public image and the messy reality behind the scenes. It's the story of a politician who mastered the art of staying in the spotlight, yet consistently struggled to win the hearts of the very people she claimed to represent.
And as she got closer to Election Day, she decided to concoct two lies about Donald Trump to distract from her email scandal. She got the Steele dossier through this Fusion GPS company that her campaign paid, and she got this group CrowdStrike, which was the one responsible for the hack into that's the one that said that the Russians hacked the DNC email.
Kelly's critique targets Hillary's communication style, polished but hollow, rehearsed yet lacking authenticity. She paints a clear picture of a politician whose words often felt scripted, as if read from a teleprompter built to charm focus groups rather than inspire real connection. Megyn Kelly's sharp observations show how Hillary's campaign speeches, packed with lofty promises and grand visions, often rang empty to voters tired of political doublespeak. This wasn't a leader who sparked a movement. It was a politician desperately trying to hold on to relevance in a rapidly changing political world. Meanwhile, Tulsi Gabbard's insider perspective adds another powerful layer to the takedown. She dissects Hillary's foreign policy record with the precision of a seasoned veteran who knows exactly what's at stake. Tulsi doesn't avoid the controversies from Libya's collapse to the chaos in Syria, exposing how Hillary's decisions often carried devastating consequences far beyond the campaign trail. Her critique reveals a pattern of interventionist policies that clashed with the ideals of peace and diplomacy Hillary claimed to support. This balancing act, they argue, only deepened the mistrust among voters who saw through the carefully managed facade.
I resigned as vice chair of the DNC in 2016, specifically so that I could campaign against Hillary Clinton in that Democratic primary.
Megyn Kelly doesn't hold back on Hillary's attempts to control the narrative through the media. She exposes how the Clinton campaign used its influence to shape news coverage and silence dissent, creating an atmosphere where any criticism was met with fierce backlash. This wasn't the transparent, accountable leadership voters expected. It was a carefully managed PR machine built to protect a fragile image at all costs. Tulsi's critique cuts even deeper when she addresses Hillary's failure to adapt to the changing political landscape. She points out how the campaign ignored the growing frustration of working-class voters, whose struggles were brushed aside or overlooked. Tulsi shows how this disconnect opened the door for opponents to exploit those weaknesses, even turning Hillary's own supporters into skeptics. The roast also dives into the infamous email scandal, a defining moment that both Kelly and Tulsi argue was far more than just a political hiccup. Tulsi stresses the broader implications, suggesting it reflected a larger pattern of questionable judgment and ethical lapses. She even recalls, "When I resigned as vice chair of the DNC in 2016, it was specifically so I could campaign against Hillary Clinton in that Democratic primary." Megyn Kelly highlights the contradictions in Hillary's rise, noting how it was built on breaking glass ceilings, yet her campaign tactics often clashed with the unity expected of a feminist icon. Tulsi builds on this, reflecting on the missed chances to form real coalitions, opting instead for political calculations that ultimately pushed potential allies away. As the roast unfolds, Kelly and Tulsi don't just list failures, they dismantle the myth of inevitability that surrounded Hillary's career. They challenge the idea that her victory was guaranteed, exposing a campaign riddled with strategic blunders, overconfidence, and a dangerous underestimation of the opposition. This takedown strips away the media hype to reveal a campaign struggling to connect with a diverse and skeptical electorate. The duo also spotlight how Hillary's legacy remains tangled in polarization. Megyn Kelly notes that while she still commands loyalty from certain groups, she also stands as a symbol of political frustration and disillusionment for many. Tulsi echoes this, framing Hillary's career as a cautionary tale about the limits of ambition, when it isn't matched by genuine responsiveness to the people.
Pieces that Glenn and I were getting close to in the discussion was the Hillary piece of this. And the evidence, because that is, they do name a couple of names in this appendix on who came up with this scam. And the name that we keep seeing over and over, as one of them at least, was Julianne Smith. Schellenberger writes Julianne. It's Julianne. He writes, the alleged creator of the plan was Julianne Smith, a Clinton policy advisor.
The conclusion lands hard and undeniable. Kelly and Tulsi's combined critique shows Hillary Clinton not as a victim of circumstance, but as the architect of her own political downfall. They argue that her legacy will be remembered less for groundbreaking achievements and more for the opportunities she squandered, the trust she failed to earn, and the image that collapsed under the weight of scrutiny. This isn't just a roast, it's a reckoning, a call to move beyond the myths and media spin and face the complex realities of one of America's most scrutinized political figures. Kelly and Tulsi deliver a powerful reminder that in politics, as in life, authenticity and accountability matter far more than polished speeches and carefully managed images.